my channel. As you can see, this is going to be a Bible journaling process video. And yes, we will be using Brianna Showalter, Summer in the Psalms, Part 4. This particular video is my Part 2 of Summer in the Psalms. So this is my second video, and I'm going to have a Part 3 when Brianna releases her Summer in the Psalms Part 5 in July. So hopefully that makes sense. All the information will be down below. Today we're going to be using a tag from the Summer in the Psalms Part 4 series. We're going to go into Psalm 90:17. I have beautiful florals. The florals from this release are just gorgeous. They're big. I love them so much. I have them on clear Mako sticker paper right now. I'm going to be using some white cardstock. We're going to bring in some paint. I'm also going to be incorporating a jar from 100 Days of Looking Up. That will be linked below, and a video will be linked as well. So as you can see, I'm already additioning my pieces here for my page. So I've got you on fast forward. Let's get started. Okay, so if you're new here, my name is Gena, and I'm the creative here on YouTube behind Create and Daydream. You can also find me over on Instagram at Create and Daydream. And if you are new, drop me a comment. Let me know if you have a channel. I will subscribe to your channel. I believe that we are a community of creatives and we can all support one another. Super important to me to have community, be a part of community, support women, women supporting women, or just people supporting small businesses, etc. So, you know, it's all happy vibes here. So anyways, let's look at my page here. First of all, I'm in an NKJV interleaved Bible. This Bible has a blank page between every single page. So there's a page of verses, and then there's a blank page, another page of verses, and then there's a blank page. And I love it. And it's been a hot minute since I've done some Bible journaling, and I had to because I just love these florals so much. I could just slap them all over all the things. They are gorgeous. So all I'm doing here is just looking at my pieces. I kind of had an idea what I wanted to do, and then I started bringing in the jar and thinking about the jar. So I thought, let me try to make a little bouquet sticking out of the top of a jar. I used to be a flower arranger. I worked in a florist, and it's something that I love to do here at home. So why not put one in the Bible, right? Especially in my journaling Bible. I love to have all different types of pages in my journaling Bibles. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I do not study from this Bible. This is like a Bible scrapbook for me, to have something to walk through and look at the creative portions of verses that I've studied or sets that I've received. It's just something that I love to have. I have a lot of different Bibles. I plan on doing a video about that one day. Let me know if that's something you would love to watch. And right now what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to prep my page, or I'm prepping my page. So I put a little illustrated faith like plastic thing behind it. I don't believe they sell those anymore, but you can put anything. Like lots of times I'll use extra happy planner covers, or people use parchment paper. So put that behind it. That just kind of protects the back page. And I'm putting white gesso on this. This is just kind of to prep my page where I want to put some paint. Okay, so as you saw, what I did was I took some of my clear florals and I put a few of them on white cardstock. That is because I'm going to lay one of these big, I don't even know what type of flowers those are, which is terrible. I used to be in a florist. I used to work in a florist. Let me know below. But I'm going to lay one down directly onto my page, and then the other ones I want to pop up. So it's going to look a little bit dimensional. I'm not going to put pop dots in this because this is a very like tight Bible to say, and I don't want it to get too chunky because I want to be able to use a lot of pages. So that's what you're going to see here. Is you're going to see me laying down pieces, and one great way to get dimension, or one way to make sure that your flowers don't like blend into each other, is to use different papers. And I've talked about this a lot if you watch my videos, but if you're new, that is a great way to do it. Now I'm bringing in some paint, and as you can see over there on the left, those were Handmade Modern paints from Target. They no longer have that, but they do have their own kind. But I'm using Walmart 50 cent paint today, and the only reason I have these handmade modern paints is because I got them on discount, and I have them holding down my page. My page was kind of flipping up here. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get to some perspective on where I want to put a little bit of color. I don't want a bunch, but I want a little bit because I thought the page would just be a little too bland. So what I did was I took my paintbrush, I put it in water and dried it off a little bit, and then I put it in the acrylic. So kind of to make it a little bit of a watery acrylic. So it'll just go on here and just give a little bit of color, not too much. And what I didn't show in the video here is I did use a heat tool. I have an old school heat tool from stamping. It's super loud, so I don't really, you know, I could put it in the video, but we don't need to see that. It's just, it can be cut out, and you wouldn't hear it anyway, so I don't know why I'm saying it's super loud. But you want to make sure, especially in these interleaved Bibles where the pages are thinner, that your paint, whatever, you know, medium you're working with, is completely dry, because these pages will tear. So that's a little tip for you. And now as you can see, I cut down the tag. I could have cut this, or I could have printed these tags a lot smaller so it would look like an actual tag, like hanging in a flower bouquet, but this is the centerpiece of my page. So I wanted to make sure it was nice and big. Obviously, you know, we're not doing this 2-dimension perfectly. And then I decided on that little like minty paint, I wanted to put some stencil. So I have this polka dot stencil, and what I'm doing is, this is so not professional, is I'm taking a makeup sponge and just patting it into my paint and then patting it on my page. I don't have anything, like I don't have any of the nice like inks or stamps or anything like that. So we're just doing it good old-fashioned Gena budget way, and we're using a makeup sponge. And hey, that is totally okay. So to use up all my white paint, I just took a little paintbrush there and put the rest of it onto my sponge. And here at the bottom, you're gonna see that at first I started with a clear jar, and I painted what I thought was going to look like water underneath of it, but I didn't like it. So I'm coming in with one of the jars. I'm cutting them out from the digital set of 100 Days of Looking Up. So right now, as I'm making this video, the physical set, or the physical kit of 100 Days of Looking Up, is still available. It will be linked below. But if the physical runs out, you can always get the digital, and I have both. And I'm so happy I got them, because having the digital allows you to print them on cardstock, print them on clear sticker paper, so it just gives you more options. Okay, so here what I do is I save any of the pieces of clear Mako sticker paper that I think that I can use. I've really come accustomed to liking to write on it. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I fumbled my words, but I use Tombow markers, and I really like writing on the Mako clear sticker paper. It's like got this matte finish, and it just holds really well. So I'm just measuring this out. I'm gonna put my little saying on top of the jar at the bottom of this floral arrangement. So let's talk about the verse a little bit. I'm using Psalm 90:17, and it reads, "May the beauty of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands." And this psalm, so Psalm 90, is a prayer that was written by Moses. And 90:17 is the last verse in this prayer, and I just think it's so powerful. I was reading some commentary on it by Matthew Henry that I found. I think it's in the Bible Hub app. And the psalm is broken down into verses 1 and 2, where it says, "Moses comforts himself and his people with the eternity of God and their interest in him." And then it goes on to say, for verses 3 through 6, he humbles himself and his people with the consideration of the frailty of man. And then 7:11, he submits himself and his people to the righteous sentence of God passed upon them. And then he wraps it up with, he commits himself and his people to God by prayer for divine mercy and grace and the return of God's favor. So depending on what translation you have or you're reading out of, like for example, in the NKJV, the title of this psalm is The Eternity of God and Man's Frailty, a Prayer of Moses, the Man of God. And I think across the board in the translations, it all is a prayer of Moses, the man of God. So while I was working on this page, I just was thinking about the Psalms and, obviously Psalm 90. And what stood out to me once I read Matthew Henry's commentary was the points that he made. And each one of them starts with Moses does something for himself and for his people. So he never just thought about himself. It starts with Moses comforts himself and his people. He humbles himself and his people. He submits himself and his people. He commits himself and his people. So the little saying that I put on my jar was, may my heart and hands always be open to you. And I thought about that, like just as with Moses, like he obviously wasn't just looking out for himself. He was always looking out for his people, and he's trying to teach them to, lean into God, hear what he has to say, be interested, and then humble yourself to him, because we all need some humbling down here on earth, especially now, and they did back then. And then submit yourself and commit yourself. And I just thought this psalm's so beautiful, and it's so applicable to like our times now, and there's just so much beauty in that. Like Moses was the man of God, which is, the literal name of this psalm. And, he was the prophet. He was the father of prophets. And there's so much to learn from him. And it is just always crazy wild to me to think that we're in the year of 2022 and Moses is teaching us something so relevant and so important that it applies today. And that is the masterful planning of God. It overwhelms me. It's so incredible. And let me just point this out. If you're still here, I am not a Bible scholar, nothing like that. I'm still really learning the Bible, but I enjoy it so much. I learn something new every single day. And let me just encourage you, if you don't study your Bible, you should. It's been life-changing for me. So there's just my little study tidbit. So I'm going to start to wrap this up here. As you can see, I came in and I put a date stamp, and here I'm putting some twine up at the top of this tag. So what I will do here, and this is me just being transparent, is I will tie twine on the top of this tag. I will take my photo of it. I'll use it in the video, and then I will take it out and I'll put a post-it there. That way when this Bible is done, I can put it back in, but that is like a chunky piece, or I may replace it with ribbon. But right now I wanted to leave it as twine. So that's it, my friends. I hope y'all like this video. I did come in and I, flicked a little bit of my paint with my brush. We didn't really talk about that. I think that's pretty straightforward. But if you have any questions, leave them below. Know that you're loved and you're prayed for, and may God bless each and every single one of you this summer and always.